is Gloria Ward, and then I'm the founder of the I'm Loving Me Project, and I'm so glad you're here. Most of you guys are probably not up from having all that fun you was having during the holiday. I know definitely I was able to get out and enjoy some of my holiday. I think, what did I do? The first thing I did is I went. My sister's birthday was September the 4th, so she actually passed a couple of years ago. She had a pulmonary embolism, and usually what I do is I go ahead and I see her, and I go to her grave and I go see her, and I hang out with her for a little bit, and then I usually do something that she liked to do. So what I did was is that on I'm trying to show you a picture of her. So what I did was, hey Octavius. So what I did was, her birthday was September the 4th. So I went in to her favorite place, IHOP. This is my sister right here. As you can see, you know, she has, we got the same kind of smile, we got everything, right? And she passed July of when was that? Maybe 2012 or 2013, something like that. She had a pulmonary embolism. She suffered from blood clots, and one of the clots moved to her heart. She was on her way. This is what I tell you guys about life. She was on her way to get herself an outfit, because she also had her own PR firm, right? So her and her god sister and friend, they were on their way to the mall to get her a new outfit, because she did PR for churches and things like that, right? Hey, Vanessa. And so she's coming down the stairs. They there to pick her up, and she comes out the house and she's walking, and then boom, she passes out. And she passes out right there in front of the car. And this is told by her god sister, because I wasn't there. She passed out in front of the car, and they said that they was holding her and everything, and you can see when she took her last breath. So of course, took her to the hospital, everything. During that time, I'm going through what I'm going through with the husband that I was with, right? But we decided that we was going to get together and go to the movies. So we were on our way to the movies, and I get this call, and you know how you get numbers that you don't recognize or whatever. And I didn't answer. And then I get this text that says, "Hey, Gloria, call me. Your sister's in the hospital." So I'm like, damn, okay. But she would usually go in and out the hospital with her blood clots, because they usually would be in her legs. She suffered from them ever since she was young, right? And so I was just like, oh man, let me just make sure everything is cool. So when I called, they was like, Gloria Sandra's in the hospital. I'm like, okay, well, let me know, because the hospital was so far. It was like an hour or so away, right? And I was like, okay, just let me know, if anything happens. How is she? Is she talking? It was like, no, she's unconscious right now, whatever. It was maybe 5 to 6 minutes after that. And it was like, Gloria, you got to get here now. Like, she's gone. She's gone. And you got to come and identify her body. And I was just all, how you like in shock? Like, I was so in shock. I was like, what do you mean gone? And it was like, she passed. I'm like, and I'm saying this to myself out loud and on the phone. I'm like, what do you mean she passed? Don't sit up here and tell me that my sister died, right? Because she always beat this thing. And it was like, no, you got to come. So my then husband and I are driving down to the hospital where she was, and she was in this hospital down there. And I walk in the hospital, and my brother and my two brothers was already there. And so the nurse comes and she says, "Are you Glory?" I said, "Yes." So now my whole body is shaking, right? Because let me tell y'all, I've never had that ever in my life. I'm only like 30. I was like, what, 34 years old at the time, right? I've never had to identify nobody or, make decisions. And, for me, that was like for older people who like your grandma, your aunt, right? Not for me, right? And so I'm in the hospital and I just see my brother crying, my oldest brother, and he's just crying. And then my youngest brother, he was there and he was like, "Gloria, do you want to go in?" And I'm like, "Should I go in?" And they was like, "I don't know. You're going to have to go in." And the nurse told me, she was like, "Well, what I need you to do," you know how they very calm and try to keep you calm, right? She said, "Well, what I need you to do is I need you just to verify that she's your sister. I need to see some ID, right? Because we both still had the last name. I didn't change my last name. And, we can take it from there and we could talk about some options, right?" So I'm like, okay, right? So I said, "Do I go in there now?" They was like, "Yeah." So I walked in, and it was just like her body there and nothing else in the room. And they had this sheet, and I'm thinking it's like TV where they have you like in a body bag already, but it wasn't that. So they had a sheet and they just had her laying there. And she had on her makeup, she had on, her hair was done, like everything was like normal. It looked like she was just sleeping, right? And so I'm just standing there, y'all, and I'm just like, okay, she looked like she's sleeping. And now my mind is playing tricks on me, right? Because now I'm looking at the nurse and I'm saying, "Did y'all do everything that y'all could?" Like, I mean, and then I put my hand and I felt her body, and her body was still warm, but it was stiff, right? And then I took my hand away. And my husband at the time, he didn't want to go in. Like, he don't deal with death like that very well anyway. And so I put my hand on her chest, and her body was warm. And I was just saying to myself, my sister is not gone, right? Like, this is not happening. So my brother comes in, my little brother. Of course, now you got the family drama, right? Because now they're arguing with each other because they're yelling back and forth at each other about, whatever it is that they're talking about. Like, "I can't believe this is happening, and where were you?" and all this, and they saying all this stuff, right? And I'm just like in this zone where I'm like, I am not ready for none of this. So I'm thinking it's over, right? I'm thinking it's over. And I'm like, okay, this is it. So the nurse comes back and said, "Your sister died from a pulmonary embolism. She was doing the shots and everything. And, it just didn't work out for her. So now we need you to call a funeral place to come and get her body because she can't stay here." And I'm like, who the hell got access to to funeral homes in they phone, right? Like, who got access to all this stuff where you're just like, "Oh, let's just go ahead and call a funeral home and, get her body up out of here because she can't stay." So I'm up there like, "Ma'am, I don't know no funeral homes that I could go ahead and call." And she was like, "Don't worry." She was like, "Don't worry about it. We have a list for you to call." And I'm like, what in the world? How am I, what am I doing? Right. And so I'm just going through the list and I'm like, um, "My sister passed. We need to pick up the body." And they're like, "Okay, what's your name?" and all this stuff. And then I would hang up. And then her god sister's mom was there and everything. And so she was just like, Gloria, I got a good funeral place that you can call and they'll come get the body. So they came, they got the body, and I went home. And y'all, I had no reaction. Like, I had no reaction because I couldn't believe this was happening. Now, y'all know we have no mom, right? Mom died when we was young, died of AIDS. My sister's father, right, of course, was a Spanish guy, right? So we have different fathers. He died long time ago, like when we were young, when she was young, right? In New York. And so all we have is each other. And I'm up there like, well, my oldest brother should be doing this, right? And I'm like, you should be handling this. And I don't know what to do. He's all like, you know how men get, right? You get so crazy and nervous. And so I'm the next one in line because I'm the third one. I'm the one that, according to the family, has the good job and, the husband and the house and all that stuff. So I'm just sitting there and I'm like, okay, so we called the funeral people. Now we got to call the family to let them know she passed. Oh my God. I'm up there like, I said to my oldest brother, I said, you're going to have to call people and let them know that she passed because I'm not dealing with them. Because you know how family get, right? They want to keep you on the phone for a very long time. They want to find out what happened. And now you got to deal with that craziness, right? Because it's never like what you say on the phone. For some reason, everything gets twisted up. So by the time you get to the third or fourth person, she probably died from something that was so crazy, right? That you sit up there and you say, well, damn, by the time it went down the line, she probably had pneumonia, AIDS, this, that, all of that, right? And so I called my cousin and I told my cousin, I said, Sandra passed. She screams and all that stuff. And I said it in that voice, right? I said, I need you to call the rest of the people in the family just to let them know. And then, we take it from there. And that's when the real work started, dealing with the funeral arrangements and dealing with the family and people coming down and, just, and everybody kept asking me, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? And if you ever buried someone before, and especially somebody that's close to you, that you don't feel anything. You immediately got to go into action, right? Like you don't have time to grieve. You don't have time to do anything because you left with so much stuff to do. But you would have, some of us will have family and stuff around to handle some things. But my sister had clothes and stuff at the house and bags all over the place, and you got to clean all that out, and driver's license and phones and everything. And so it maybe took like a week or two because we was having so much trouble. She didn't have any insurance or anything. So we was having, so much trouble trying to get her buried because at the same time, remember around this time, and I told you guys before, like my business was down. Like I'm having trouble in my marriage. We going through so much stuff, and then now, boom, it's like this big old thing, right? And so I just didn't have it like that. Like I wasn't really making no money like that. And remember, I was at a temp job at the time and I was paying for a rental car every week. Like I was going through my own stuff, but we was able to pull it through and have friends and, the family, everybody, contributed and we was able to pull her through and give her a good home going and everything. So what I try to do every year is just to go, sit and visit her and see her, and because she died at my age. I am now 41 years old, y'all. And that was the point of my message today. And to let you guys know that it's all about perspective, it's all about living, it's all about life. In this photo, she was 40 years old. She was my age. She was a year younger than me. She was 40 years old, and she died at 41. you know and so when I look at that and I say to myself, I'm like, how precious life is. We have to be able to think about our life in the way in which we see not only the bad, but the good and where we're going, and being able to change those things that we need to change in order to move us forward. Because everything is about perspective. It's all the ways on how you think about things, right? And I was trying to do this on Friday, because I said to myself I was going to do an exercise with y'all. I hope y'all can see my sticky note. I don't know. Let me see. I got this little thing up here. This little thing that I'm using, this program to do my inspiration in 30s. I think it has the little sticky note up here. And what I did was this exercise. Uh, right. And this is something that I put up here. I don't know. I don't even know why it won't stretch out. I guess because it's supposed to be a sticky note, right? And I said everything is about perspective. Now, when you look at this, you say, woman without her man is nothing. And you say, Gloria, that is not true, right? And some of you will probably be like, okay, where are you going with this, right? We supposed to be discussing new things. But I did this exercise with a friend of mine just to show you how we think. So when we look at that, right? When we look at that, we say, woman without her man is nothing. Everybody frowns, right? If you put a comma in here, it says what? Woman without her man is nothing, right? And then you say, okay, Gloria, all right, what is the point of this, right? I want you to look at it and put another comma in there, right? Woman without her man is nothing, right? So you could look at this and say, woman without her man is nothing. Or you could say, woman without her man is nothing, right? Or you could sit up there and say, you know, um, when I look at this, there are different perspectives that you can take, right? There are different perspectives that you can take. But most of us see the world so one sided. And that was my point I was saying to my friend. Some of us see the world so one sided. We only believe what we see, and we never put in the commas. The commas are the possibilities, right? We never put in the possibilities of how we can change the way things look, right? We can change the way we see things if we are able to look at the possibilities and the opportunities in everything. So some of us look at our life and say, oh yeah, my life ain't shit right now. I'm trying to move here and I'm trying to do this and that. And COVID done messed up everything. And, I can't move anywhere, right? And it's like, no. look at what it has taught you, right? Look at the valuable time it's given you to do different things. Look at the way it has allowed you to slow down and take a step back on what your life is really like. All it did was shine a light on what your life is like. I went out. Hey, be quiet. I went out this weekend with a couple of friends. And when I was hanging out with my friend, she said to me, she said, I'm so lonely. COVID messed up my relationships, and I'm just literally in the house, and I don't have, nothing to do. And, I'm not dating anyone. I'm just here, and I'm getting upset with my life. And I'm like, well, wouldn't this be a great time for you to discover who you really are? Right? Because you looking at what you're not getting versus the stuff that you're learning. You're learning, and I told her, you're learning that you are very uncomfortable with being alone, that you don't like to be by yourself. Why is that? Why is it so hard for you to sit by yourself and do some self-reflection and see where you're going? She said, I just need a man in my life. Like, I need someone who will come in and just, spoil me and take care of the bills and do all this for me so that I'm able to, chill and know that I'm taken care of. And I said, that's possible. But right now, you're not going to find that until you clean up what you need to clean up for yourself, which is you, right? Because you looking at the world saying, woe unto me. The world is doing this to me, right? The world has stopped my friendships and relationships, and I can't go nowhere or do nothing. And it's like, that's not true. What you were doing the whole time is that you had distractions. You see what I'm saying? You had distractions. You were so good at covering stuff up. Hold on. Stop it. You were so good at covering stuff up that it became a problem for you when you started to see who you really were. Right? Because when you start to look at who you are, you didn't like it. Right? You didn't realize the fact that all of your friends are actually in relationships and you're not in one. And when you try to hang out with them, they like, no, we're trying to stay safe. We're at home. So you look around and you're like, I don't have nobody to hang out with. I really don't have anything to do. Let me go ahead and make up something, right? I mean, there's nobody to call. And it's like, okay, I'm sitting in this house. I'm trying to get this stuff done. The kids are doing their own thing. And here I am, lonely, right? Here I am trying to see how I'm going to get through the day. Here I am on a Labor Day weekend where we got a 3-day weekend and I can't go anywhere. I can't hang out with anybody. There's nobody for me to go on vacation with. And I was just saying all weekend to most of my friends, it's all on how you think about things. You can hang out, you can go out, you can do all that stuff. If there's no one around to do it, what is the hard thing about doing it by yourself? Right? And they say, oh, Gloria, nobody goes out by themselves and nobody hangs out by themselves and nobody, want to be out by themselves. And I'm like, I get that. But if four of you, if four of you are complaining about how lonely you guys are and y'all all in the house, How about y'all hang out with each other, right? And see what happens. And they're like, well, yeah, we can hang out and do that, but it's just going to be a sad ass party. It's going to be a sad ass party because we all going to talk about, how lonely we are. And I said, that's the truth. But at the same time, what you start to discover is that you're not alone, right? You're not alone in this. You're not the only person in the whole wide world who is lonely and trying to figure things out and trying to do all of that. It's all based on perspective, right? It's all based on how you think, right? What you also start to discover is that when you put yourself in those groups, all of you are talking about things where you don't want to face yourself because I was in a room with at least three of them this weekend, and all they kept talking about was the fact that they wanted to go here and find somebody to do this, and oh, I found someone when we went to the friend's house. I found someone in a garage area and he wants to meet me, and I'm like, damn, girl, found you got somebody's number when you was parking your car and now he want to sit here and meet you. I don't know, but to each his own. You do what you want to do, right? And yes, Kim, it's about self-reflection, but at the same time it's about being comfortable with you, taking out the distractions, right? Because that's basically what you're doing. This time has allowed you to take out all of this distractions, and here you are sitting by yourself. As much as we beg when the world was open and everything was crazy to get that time, this precious time that we all beg for, to sit down and write our plan and to figure out what we want to do and all of that, now that we have it, that's a problem. So having no time is a problem. Having too much time is a problem. Having somebody is a problem. Having nobody is a problem. So it's like, damn, how do you satisfy yourself where everything that you look at turns into a problem? It's because of the way you're thinking, right? It's the way you're thinking. You have to know and you have to understand that in order for you to get past this journey, you have to be able to see opportunity in everything that you're doing, in everything. Or else you're going to keep playing this cycle. Like I said, this will be you. You would be in this place where you just see the world one way and you don't see opportunities. Woman without her man is nothing. You would never be able to see the opportunities, the commas. You would never be able to see the opportunities in the things that you are looking at, right? Because you have to realize that the world that we living in is not going back to normal. We are going to be in this new normal that we're building. And you have the opportunity to build your life. You have the opportunity to build your life and get yourself together so you can find the mate that you want, right? Y'all know I don't have anybody either. I'm not, out dating anyone or anything like that. And I said to myself, I can if I wanted to, but I choose not to because I know that I am not ready for that. Not at this particular time. Only because there's a lot of things that I need to work on in me. And I don't want the riffraff anymore. You know what I'm saying? You know how you go out there and you just like, well, it's a warm body and it's cool. So let me just, try this out and see what happens. To me, that's a waste of my time. Like, I would not enjoy you because I'll just be looking at you like, ugh, you know? So I'm like, I want to be able, the next person that I'm with, I want to be able to look at them and just smile every day and say, I worked on myself for you. I sure did. I worked on myself for you because what I did is I put it out there in the universe that I was going to be the best me, right? So that I can show up and that every day I can be my best self for you. That's it. You know, I'm not coming to you, halfway and it's like, oh, you need to be with me and I'm lonely. Well, come over here and let me do this. I ain't got time for that, y'all. Like I said, the amount of loss that I experienced in my life, I always feel and still feel. And that's one of the things that I battle with. And that's one of the things I talk to you guys about, where I'm running out of time. I have to be able to do what I need to do because to me, life is short. The thing that I see in my head, right, is this. And I can show you, right, is this right here. Woman without her, man is nothing, right? That's what I see in my head. I ain't put the comma in there yet. And let me tell you why. I had a mom who passed at 32, right? Who died of AIDS. I had a grandma who died at 70, I believe, or 71. And I had a sister who died at 41. I had uncles and aunts and all of them. Nobody lived. Nobody lived to see, I think, 50, right? It's only my aunt right now. And I'm like, who else? I think it's my aunt and maybe my other aunt and uncle who hit the 60 mark, right? And that's huge. That's big. I didn't, my family, we don't make it to 60, right? Because the way that you live your life, you go so hard, so young that you don't make it. You put your everything out there where you don't make it, or you get a disease or something and it just doesn't pan out for you. So imagine me looking at all of this and now I'm 41. Let me tell you, every time I get constipated, I get scared. You know what I'm saying? Like every time my body starts to change, I get nervous. So I'm saying to myself, I see some of the possibilities. I see one comma, but my mind is working on this one, y'all. Only because this journey is not this journey is this journey is serious, right? And the way that you see the world is how you live your life. But if you don't see the possibilities in it, then how are you supposed to move forward in a good way where your mind is always telling you all these negative things, right? Where your mind is always programming you to think a certain way. That's why I said all those things that you learned as a kid, if they're not serving you no more, get rid of them. If this is what you learn your whole life, woman without her man is nothing. If it's not serving you, change it, right? If you are looking at your life and you saying, woe unto me, what are the positive things that's happening? Where are your commas? Where are the possibilities in your life? When you talk about yourself, what do you say to yourself? What are some of the good things that you're saying about yourself? What are the possibilities that you have in your life? How are you looking at your life? How do you see the world that's around you currently? And where are you going? Where are you going? We have what, 3 months? What is it? September, October, November, December, to see if we can get it right. 2021, in my opinion, is going to be the same. I mean, we're going to be in this thing at least 2 more years, right? But how are you going to plan for that? Because the changing of the year is not going to dramatically take all your problems away. You know that, right? When they say 2021, fresh start, fresh this. No, last night you did the same thing you did before, and tonight and today it's going to be the same thing. So where is the fresh start going to take place and when? Just because it's a new year? Oh, it's going to be a fresh start? No, you still do the same things that you do if you don't see things in a different way, if you don't see the possibilities in your life, right? So that's what I wanted to talk about today. It's a holiday. Enjoy yourself. Eat some good food. Be around some great people. Get some good barbecue and everything. But just remember, when you're listening to those people talk and those people you're around, listen to the conversations. Listen to how they talk. And just listen to the stuff that's coming back at you. And if you are thinking that these things are negative, just understand that they talking to you because there's something in you that they feel comfortable with, right? And you're sharing some kind of attraction, right? So when you're listening to these conversations, know and understand, if it ain't in you, you wouldn't have it, right? And that's what I had to realize this weekend. If I was around 4 people who was talking about how lonely they were, if it ain't in you, then you wouldn't be around it, right? If you didn't feel that kind of way, then there would be no need for you to have that conversation. But because it happened, that means you feeling a little bit of that too, right? And it's okay to feel, but just make sure you clean it up. That's all we do. Just make sure you clean it up and you look at the possibilities. It's there, but find the possibilities. Okay. So that's all I got. I'm going to go. I went to my friend's house yesterday and we had a great time. We had barbecue and all that yesterday. So I'm going to eat my leftovers. But I want you guys to get your tickets to her Power Her Soul session. Andrina is going to be on tomorrow talking with us. So you can see her and introduce her. We're going to premiere her video today, a little bit after this, probably around 9 o'clock or so. So you can get to know her. But please leave your comments, like, share, let us know what you're thinking. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Love you. Bye.